I'm Anna Giratelli, the Homeland Security correspondent with the Washington Examiner in Washington, D.C. We're joined today by Congressman Pat Fallon from Texas. Congressman, thank you for joining us today.
No, Anna, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay, so, you're leading the charge going after the Biden administration now that Republicans have control of the House. Tell me a little bit more about what led up to your decision to introduce these 3 articles of impeachment against Homeland Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
Yeah, it gives me no joy, Anna, to do it, to be quite frank with you and candid. But what we saw unfold on the border over the last 2 years became a crisis and ventured into catastrophe, and now it's near collapse. I visited the border several times. I remember when the mainstream media finally covered it in February of 21, and then they just melted away. And what we've seen, for instance, we had never seen a month in our history where we had over 200,000 illegal border crossers. For the last 10 months in a row, we have seen over 200,000 illegal border crossers. So 1 month would have been noteworthy and a news story. But 10 months in a row, you're starting to collapse. The Customs and Border Patrol agents can only handle about 5,000 illegal crossers in a day, in a calendar day. That stresses them to their very limit. We've had days where there's 9,000, 10,000, 12, and I fear that we're going to see days of 15 and 18,000. So there's 3 articles of impeachment. One article is that according to the Secure Fence Act in 2006, Congress mandates by law that the Homeland Security Secretary must maintain operational control of the southern border. Alejandro Mayorkas has lost that. The Mexican drug cartels are controlling our southern border. Alejandro Mayorkas has abdicated his responsibilities. Also, his catch and release policy, which this past month, worst month ever, December, 251,000 illegal border crossers. Only 20% of them were sent back via Title 42. Yeah. So he's violated 2 federal laws. That in and of itself is worthy of an article of impeachment. The second one is he perjured himself in front of Congress. When asked if the border was secure, he said it was secure. Then he's caught on a hot mic in a private conversation saying the border is unsustainable and it's chaos. So which is it? I believe he purposely, knowingly, willfully lied. Then we have quote unquote Whipgate, which is when we had mounted Border Patrol agents stemming the tide, doing the jobs effectively and lawfully by preventing entry by some Haitian migrants. Nobody was whipped. And emails now show that Alejandro Mayorkas knew that and still misled the American people and undermined his own Border Patrol agents, who we pay to go into harm's way to protect us, your family, and mine, by going and propagating a woke and false narrative. So those are the 3 articles.
Mm-hmm. So, is this part of kind of the debate in the Republican Party has been, do we do oversight? Do we investigate? Do we hold them accountable for the past? Or do we look forward and actually get the crisis under control?
First part of your question, we really can't fix the current problem and into the future without addressing the past, because Joe Biden has said he's going to continue the course, particularly after November 8th. He said, I'm not going to change anything. You're not going to change anything. This is one of the reasons why I felt we are compelled to file these articles. We need to dramatically change your policies on the border. We need to reinstitute the wait in Mexico policy, where your asylum claim will be adjudicated while you wait in Mexico. We need to finish the border wall and other barriers. We need to deport criminals. We need expedited removals. We need to eliminate the visa lottery, the green card lottery, which is the dumbest thing. And we've got to remove Alejandro Mayorkas. History should know. The American people today need to know what he's done, his gross dereliction of duty, but history needs to know it too.
So do you think that Secretary Mayorkas is sort of a puppet of the Biden administration, or is it a matter of incompetence? He doesn't know how to fix it, or and they know how they could stem the flow of people coming across, but they've chosen not to.
And there's no doubt. I think that's why you have these hearings. That's why I had to file the articles for the gross dereliction of duty over the last 2 years. I just had to. I felt compelled to anyhow. And we're going to have that discussion. But we're also going to go where the evidence leads us. From what we know right now, fair to say, yeah, it's very unlikely we'd get a conviction. However, we're going to go where the evidence leads us. What if there is more that we discover that is so egregious that you've got some Democrats that are up for re-election in 2024 that vote for it. I don't know. We might get to a conviction. So you never know. Is it likely? Not right now. But that's where we need to move forward. So to your one part of your question, is it incompetence or is he just doing the work of his masters, if you will? Could be a combination of both, I suspect. He doesn't seem to have a backbone to stand up and do his job. You know what? If Biden wants to fire him for getting the numbers down, Biden can answer to the 2024 electorate himself. But Mayorkas doesn't seem to have any. And the other thing, by the way, they're scurrying now that these articles have been filed because I've done a lot of media interviews. I'm sure they have and been asked about it in his spokespeople. And they're sitting there and saying the noble mission, he will continue to focus on the noble mission of our Customs and Border Patrol agents. They do have a noble mission, and you're not allowing them to do it. And you're the same person in Article 3 of this impeachment, of these impeachment articles, that have undermined those very Border Patrol agents you now are venerating. So spare me the double talk, Mr. Secretary, and hopefully Mr. Ex-Secretary.